Hello everyone, my name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. It's 4:04. It is Tuesday, and another lethargic day as far as the indices are concerned. We've had some decent stock action, some two-way action, very specific action, which is why we get prepared every day, which is why I write a note every morning that starts at 4:45 in the morning, and you guys get it at 8:30, so this way you could prepare yourself for the potential action. If you come here, though, and take a look at the spiders, not much money to be made here. Okay, here was, you want to draw some lines. This was your big range that it consolidated above pretty much for 2 weeks. You had a quick little move up yesterday, which got a lot of us long, okay, above, what was that, 239.43. And then today it went above, you could say it went above the prior high. So if you want to take a little closer look here, and then came back below it. So some guys said, okay, I'm going to get out when it gets back below 240.44, which was this high, because it was as high as 240.67. It's a little bit of a red dog reversal. So if you did that, you had the opportunity to be long versus the 60-minute low, which was 239.63. Or you could have said, hey, I'm not going to overly trade this friggin' thing because there's not much to do, and said I'm going to give it to yesterday's low or the 8th day, and then you just sat and did nothing, and the spiders closed okay. The small caps are still lethargic, still a pain in the you-know-what. At this point, I drew this chart this morning. It's still caught in this range. It loves to, break below support areas, above resistance areas, and the algos just like to eat everyone else's lunch. And at this point, it still looks fine. It still closed okay. I'm not long this one overnight. It's tiring me out. So I guess that's what ranges do. They tire you out before they go. But again, I came with like 9 positions today, and 2 of them were the small caps and the spiders. So it wasn't like my overly focus. It just was little things that kind of annoyed me. Did come in long Amazon. Here are some of the lines from this morning. Not a blockbuster move, but we got long it here. Added a little bit into this inside day, and then today did give you a move as high as 970 before closing off highs. Does that mean it's over? No, but again, it's not like showing crazy power where you're getting 2 strong days in a row or 3 strong days in a row. Last time that happened was right here. So I'm still long some. I still think it's on the road to 1,000. It's just a matter of how you're comfortable sitting in it and trading it. Google made a new high here today also. I did not trade it. Some of the guys in the VTF have been doing very well with it. I chose Amazon over Google. You can't be in everything. Here, nice little trade above that little pivot. Here is the 8-day moving average that it held, and here was your red dog reversal after earnings that a lot of guys got along here and just said, I'm going to hold it, with the earnings strategy. What does that mean? It means it gapped up after earnings, came down, put a low in at 923.22 the next day, went into the gap, came back above it, and that was your entry right there with the stop at the prior day's low, and then you'd been sitting. Or you traded using the pivots. And if you bought it yesterday and added today, okay, maybe hopefully we get a little bit of follow through tomorrow. Facebook's been very quiet, going sideways. I probably should be long a little bit of this versus this support area, because Facebook likes to just get up and go when it wants to go. Not, get very often where it's just going sideways for 2 weeks. Last time that happened, was right here, and then it woke up, took back the moving averages after a nice consolidation and started a new move here, doing the same kind of thing. I would say, have a feeler long if you think you're going to miss it, or if you see volume tomorrow, you just get in there and go with it. But overall, Facebook's been, got very tight. It's consolidated this move, and it could see more, higher prices. As far as Tesla, not much going on right here. The downgrade yesterday got a few of us in the tush, but it's fine. It right at this point held the 21-day. It has to rebuild now because it lost a little momentum, lost a little bit of enthusiasm. But at this point, we'll see what happens here. If it stays below 920-ish, 320-ish, just avoid it. The longer it goes by here and then maybe gets above it, that could be your pivot to be long it. Remember last time I went in the penalty box post earnings, gave you a nice buy right here before continuing its run. Here was your post earnings move, came back up. All in all, it's absorbing what was a bit of a disappointment from the biggest bull in Tesla out there, from Morgan Stanley. So at this point, I don't think you need to be huge long or huge short. Just wait and figure it out. Or wait and just get a signal. It needs time. These things take time, and then you get a better situation to get back involved. This morning, actually, I made most of my active money, believe it or not, short NVIDIA. You could say, how did you make money short NVIDIA? Well, let me show you on a 5-minute chart, because you can't see it on the daily. If you're on the VTF, you've played it with me probably. If you're short and if you're quick and you're active, you can do things like this. So basically, this thing opened up. I actually broke a few rules and I shorted it into that, and then all of a sudden, if you look more on the 3-minute, you'll see how it flagged. You could have been short versus the highs, came in, went red, and basically that was the cover. So by 11 o'clock, I was done with it, and literally, it was up 2, went to down 60 cents, 2.5 points. That's what I call a cute short. A lot more money's been made long, not short. But on day 5, why not try it? Especially maybe right here versus the high. I took a little risk, but on day 4, I said that's fine. You go back to your daily chart on the video, and this was a beautiful candle on earnings, big volume. You look at the volume here, and then really, I remember the next day we were down. It was down 80 cents, and then blasted off above here. That was a nice long 2-day pivot, another nice long, and you know what? Tomorrow, if it opens up $1, you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'll figure out a little fade, look for a divergence, make some cash flow, and move on. At this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row, just as hard to initiate a new long as it is to be short. But at this point, I think you might be able to trade out of a short a little bit easier if you got caught long. If you remember earnings day, in my recap, I talked about AMD. I said AMD could probably play some catch up. This morning in the Express, we talked about a trade into the earnings gap. Well, it got above this pivot, which was 1176, and went $1. That's what happens here when you have gaps and you have some volume and you have some news like with Intel. Boom. We actually started here. So for some of you guys who made the money there, congratulations. That was a nice gap trade. We love looking at gap pivots and gap trades, just like here on Snap. At post earnings, if you didn't take it into earnings, oh, here's that pivot. Came in, put its daily bar in. 1890 was the pivot, got above it, went as high as 1948. Next day got above 1948, went as high as here. And now today, with all those people talking negative on Snap, it absorbed it and held. So we'll see tomorrow if there's a opening trade, and then all of a sudden, if it gets above 2095, you could even see more upside. Don't have opinions here. Use the pivots. Fortunately, the banks are still lethargic. Citigroup, interesting. I actually took Citigroup home. Why did I take Citigroup home? Not because I banked there, just because, first time in a while it closed at the dead highs, on some decent volume. If the banks are going to follow through tomorrow, I would expect Citigroup to be okay. I was in Bank of America, but Bank of America is still hanging here. I probably should be in both, but Bank of America is just lethargic, and it's just putting me to sleep. So Citigroup actually broke out, went. We'll see if that continues. BABA, unfortunately, I feel a little bit naked. I sold my BABA today. What a nice trade, though. If you guys remember, on last Thursday, we talked about buying it into this 118 on option expiration. We were on the VTF and saying how they're probably going to pin a 120 and then get a pre-earnings move because earnings are Thursday. And boom, from 118 through 120. I sold mine around 123 today. Went to 124.30. Beautiful trade here. We've been charting this thing. It's been on my note and my go-to list for pretty much the whole year. Probably from here we talked about how it's going to get to all-time highs above 120. So if you're sitting in it as a swing trade, congratulations. Some of you guys also went with Baidu. Last week we talked about the day one in Baidu. Look at that day one, and this was the pivot I drew this morning. Got above it and pushed. Okay. Last week we talked about Sina giving you a buy area right here, and now look, boom. A lot of us don't take trades into earnings, but you didn't have to. Same thing with WB, you didn't have to. But wow, look at those Chinese internets. I would not be short these things. Now we'll see what the new setup is. Again, I just because my system, I probably could have held BABA for another day, but I just felt like, my target on Friday, I tweeted, I said, I think we get a pre-earnings run from 122 to 124. You could check it, and that's where we are. So I figured it's a good spot to reduce a little bit. So all in all, If I was in my studio, you'd be watching my face and my glossy forehead, but when not, I'm sitting at the desk and I'm giving you a different way to look at the recap because the studio is under a little work. We'll be back full action on Thursday. Lots of individual stock action. Look at how Baba acted, and then you go to the spiders and look how it's doing absolutely nothing, frustrating anybody trying to overfocus there. If you go to the energy names too, we'll take a quick look here. I guess I can move this down a little bit, but if this XLE does not hold this spot here, we've seen this before. We get an oversold bounce up to the 50-day and fail. That wouldn't be good for the market. Remember here, oversold move 50-day and fail. So this has to really hold, I would say, somewhere around this spot, which is 67.70-ish, 67.50-ish, to really prove that it could break this descending trend line here, which would help the broader indices. But for right now, just to trade, if you caught it, congratulations. This is when, they pretty much squeezed the shorts and gave you a 67 pivot to trade against. What else could I look at or talk to you guys before I go? What else was in play today? Kurt, anything else in play today? What else was in play today? STMP. Had a decent move today. Wide range bar probably needs a little bit of time. We'll see how it holds above here. Oh, FireEye. I have that on still. I've had that on for a while. This was a beautiful trade after earnings, and then you had the gap up. Now I think it just needs some time to absorb this little cyber attack gap up. I'm in some still. Oh, Twitter. Twitter was a great purchase on Thursday. I bought Twitter with a lot of guys on the VTF because of this nice bull flag. Sold my options yesterday, but I'm still in the stock. I drew this morning saying there was a little bit of a pivot here at 1984. It got up to there and came off. It's had a big move, a little sideways action, and potentially, we could see 21 and then maybe a gap fill. I think one of the founders came back and gave it an extra push, which maybe had some sell it. Still in there. Really nice move. It woke up. There's volume here. You have Mark Cuban behind it now. You have Kramer speaking positively. You have BlackRock did a 4% stake or 4.4%. So I'm not saying it's going to, really get going, but something that, something to do. But on some pullbacks, buy some, maybe hold a little bit. At this point, I have less than I came in long today, but I'm still in some. And I got rid of my options that we bought somewhere around here. So we kind of had it as a zero, and then boom, got lucky, got the money back, and then some. But that's what happens with these type of names. They get reborn at times. I think this became a little bit of a value play once people saw the numbers as Snap, market cap wise. Let's take a little bigger look here at Snap anyway. Yeah, this could be a setup for tomorrow. If it opens flat, gets above this pivot, anyone who's been shorting it since the lows probably gets a little covered or a little squeezed, and you still have a gap to fill, which would be filled at 22.87. So some action here. It's very, cheap price as far as not cheap valuation, but it's a lower price stock with a lot of volume with a range. So guys like to gravitate and throw some big size around. So if that's you, go with it. All right. So in closing, I will do the Morning Call Express tomorrow again with this method, and tomorrow is Wednesday, and then come Thursday you'll be able to tune in the right way or the usual way, because there's no right way as long as you have a process. Have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.